Welcome to the Mobile Application Fundamentals. I'm your professor, Dr. Lisa English Dowdell. So this course is going to provide a comprehensive understanding of the fundamental principles and concepts involved in mobile application development. Now you're going to explore the theoretical aspects of mobile app development, including architecture, design principles, user experience, and industry best practices. Now while this course doesn't include programming, it serves as an essential fundamental foundation for students interested in pursuing mobile app development or related fields. Now, there are seven course learning outcomes. First one is to understand the key components and architecture of mobile applications, explore the principles of user-centered design and user experience in mobile application development, gain knowledge of different mobile platforms and their characteristics, understand the mobile app development lifecycle and its various stages, familiarize with industry best practices, guidelines, and standards for mobile application development, gain insight into mobile app monetization strategies and business models, and then explore emerging trends and technologies in the field of mobile application development. Now, although this is more of an independent study and an online course, you are expected to listen to any of the lectures and read any of the accompanying reading material, and then participate in the activities and post discussions. There is a late work policy. Um, each assignment will kind of have a deadline, and so it's good to, or it's going to be beneficial to kind of keep up with those deadlines because, especially when you move into as far as like the milestones, each milestone kind of builds on top of each other. Each lecture kind of builds on top of learning what needs to go into the milestones. And so if you fall behind, then it's kind of really hard to catch up, because of the fact that you would have missed like whatever the milestone or the knowledge was prior to like whatever the current work is. Postings and participation, I'd like for you to make sure when you're looking at the assignments, just take a look at the rubrics that are required for each of them. And then as far as like for the initial posts and responses, even though you may not have too many peers that are going to be working with you, but if you can take a look at like the posts that they do and maybe kind of engage in some conversation through responses, I think that's going to benefit everyone. And then the grading components, your milestone are going to be 30% of your grade. Discussion posts are 23%. The various different assignments are 26%. And then your final presentation will be 21%. Now, in the final project, you're going to have the opportunity to bring like the learning that you've done throughout the entire course to life by designing a user-centric mobile app. The project is going to be divided into four manageable milestones that are going to be spread over the 8-week period, allowing you to progressively build and present your mobile app concept. Now, this project aims to provide you with a hands-on experience in mobile app development while allowing you to showcase your creativity and understanding of key principles. The focus is on simplicity and clarity so that we can ensure that you can successfully complete each milestone within the allocated time. So the first milestone is going to be the app concept and proposal. And this is where you're going to choose a simple problem, domain, or a niche, and you're going to write a proposal of the app that you plan to design. And I'll give you some guidance as far as doing that. The second milestone is basic user analysis and creating a user persona. So you're going to conduct basic user analysis and you're going to create a user persona that's going to be the target audience of your app. The third milestone is app design and prototype development. So you're going to design a straightforward user interface for the app. You're going to create a basic prototype that's going to include maybe 2 to 3 core features, and we'll talk more about, developing prototypes as we move forward. And then your final presentation reflection, which is going to be the milestone 4, you're going to present a PowerPoint presentation that's going to cover your app concept, the user interface, and basically your core features. and you'll reflect on the project, discussing like different challenges that you may have encountered and any lessons you learned. And it'll be a way that you'll be able to present this to a class, through like a recorded PowerPoint presentation. So one of the first things that I'd like for you to do, there's a discussion post in Module 1 that's called Please Introduce Yourself. And basically it's just to kind of break the ice and get to know each other on a different level, share a little bit about yourself. And so, I'd like for you guys to just go ahead and respond to that. And then, if you want to respond or respond to like what your peers have posted, that's good too. But it's just an idea for me to kind of understand where you are, kind of, see as far as where you see yourself in 5 years, if this is an area that you want to go into, or anything really, your aspirations, your dreams, your career goals, that type of thing. Just something to break the ice. Okay, so now that I've told you a little bit about the course, let's get into our first module, and that is the Introduction to Mobile Application Development. So module 1, we have three objectives here. One is to understand, well, classify types of apps and industries they're used. So that's basically to understand like the various categories of mobile applications. We're going to talk about native, web, hybrid, and we're going to explore like real world examples of the apps, like in the different industries, like social media, e-commerce, health, gaming. The second module objective is to identify basic components of mobile apps. And this is basically to learn about the fundamental elements, that are common to most mobile apps, such as like UI, the functionality, data storage, user interaction, things like that. And then recognizing the roles of user experience design in creating successful apps. And then the third objective is to identify reasons to use native apps versus mobile web apps. And so we're going to, talk about like what differentiates between native and mobile web apps, and basically to understand the benefits and the limitations of both, and then analyze scenarios where one type would be maybe more suitable than the other. So let's get into it by talking about what is an app. So the word app is an abbreviation for application, and it's a piece of software that comes pre-installed on your device, or it's software that maybe you installed on the device. Now, app is more often used in reference to a mobile app or a small piece of software that runs on a website. Apps can run on smartphones, game consoles, tablets, computers, smartwatches, smart TVs, and of course through a web browser. And apps have evolved from like early games to news and entertainment media to basically messaging and social tools. So there are three main types of apps. There's the desktop apps, and that's built for computers with a mouse and a keyboard type interaction. Then there's your mobile apps, which are designed for like smartphones and touch input. And then there's web apps that are basically browser-based programs. Now, the key differences with this is desktop apps are usually much fuller than mobile apps, and they consist of all the app's features, whereas the mobile equivalent is a more simpler and easier to use version. Now, mobile apps are normally accessible through the device or website, so that like the apps can be queued up, for download the next time, the user is on the device. Whereas web apps, they load within a browser and they don't require downloading unless you're talking about something like Chrome extensions or something like that. Now, a website or web app rather has several inherent advantages over mobile apps. Immediacy, mobile websites, they're instantly available. Compatibility, mobile websites are compatible across devices. They can be easily updated instantly. As far as findability, mobile websites can be found easily because their pages can be displayed in like search results, and they can also be listed like on industry specific directories. Mobile websites can be shared easily by publishers and between users. Mobile website URLs, are kind of shared between like users just using like a simple link. Reach. Mobile websites have a broader reach because a mobile website is accessible across platforms and can be easily like shared among users as well as search engines. Their life cycle, mobile websites can't be deleted. The average shelf life, say, of an app is pretty short, less than 30 days, according to some research. Um, Whereas with a website, again, can't be deleted. It's going to be there. Time and cost, mobile websites are going to be easier to develop and they're also less expensive. And then support and maintenance, properly supported and maintaining an app is going to definitely be more expensive. It's going to include like upgrades, testing, compatibility issues, and then just ongoing development. And it's going to need more support, than a website. Now, despite the many inherent benefits of a mobile web, apps are still very popular, and there are several specific use scenarios where an app would be like your best choice. Like one would be in interactivity or gaming. So for like a highly interactive game, an app is gonna likely be like your best choice, at least for the for the unforeseeable, for the foreseeable future. Push notifications. So we can send push notifications to users, who have the app installed on their device. And then if your target users are going to be using your app like in a more personalized fashion, on a regular basis, an app is going to be better for that. And things like, Evernote or Facebook or, like online banking where you want to maybe have it more personalized towards you. An app is going to be a better choice for that. And then, of course, no connection required if you need to provide like offline access to content or perform functions without like network or wireless. You can store data locally and then have it uploaded, once the connection is established. So according to Matthew Penzarino, who's the editor and chief of TechCrunch, there are three stages of how apps have risen to their current global usage. So the first stage began with the initial Android and Apple apps, which adhere closely to like the information appliance model, meaning that using software, you transform your phone into mostly like a mono purpose device. So now it's a phone, now it's a calculator, now it's a messaging tool. The second stage is the home screen era, which is defined as, as a time when, apps thought they needed to provide like multiple services, to be like the user's go-to app. And then as of 2014, Penzarino believed we were in the third stage, which he named service layers, because apps developed in this stage were built for like a specific service, or purpose based on like your online behavior. Now, let me provide a brief overview of the mobile app ecosystem and its significance to today's digital landscape. So, the mobile app ecosystem refers to the interconnected network of mobile applications designed for like smartphones and tablets, along with various stakeholders and technologies that support it. This ecosystem plays a significant role in today's digital landscape due to the widespread adoption of mobile devices and their integration into nearly every aspect of modern life. So here's a brief overview of its significance. So the ubiquity of mobile devices. Smartphones and tablets, they've become an essential tool for communication, information access, entertainment, and of course, productivity. And their portability and convenience have led to a global proliferation of mobile devices, making them the primary gateway to the internet for most people. Then there's the diverse app categories. The mobile app ecosystem encompasses like a wide range of categories, including social media, gaming, productivity, healthcare, finance, and a lot more. And this diversity of apps caters to various user needs and interests, making mobile devices versatile and basically indispensable. And then the app marketplace, like the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store, they serve as centralized platforms, where users can discover, download, and update apps. And these marketplaces also provide like a monetization avenue for developers through like app purchases, subscriptions, and in-app advertisement. And then the mobile app ecosystem has fostered like a thriving development community that creates like innovative apps. So developers can reach like a global audience, and with this ecosystem, they have you know allowed like large corporations and independent developers to compete like on an equal footing. And then user engagement, mobile apps offer a highly engaging user experience with features like push notification, location services, and personalization. Revenue generation, the mobile app ecosystem generates like a substantial revenue, with app purchases, with in-app purchases, and advertising contributing to like the overall economy. And then mobile apps often serve like as control interfaces for like the Internet of Things devices and like different wearables. They enable users to manage and interact with smart home devices, like maybe health trackers and different things like that. And then, as far as data and analytics, mobile apps collect valuable user data. And so it allows businesses to gain like insight into consumer behavior and preferences. Digital transformation. They enable organizations to streamline operations, improve customer service, and basically adapt to the changing consumer expectations. And then, as far as future innovations, the mobile app ecosystem continues to evolve with like ongoing innovations such as like AR, virtual reality, um, 5G connectivity, which opens up like new possibilities for like immersive experiences and real time communication. Now, when making a choice for the type of app to develop, it's important to understand the different types because of several reasons. One is aligning with business goals. So, different types of apps serve different purposes. And then understanding these types is going to help align your app development with your business objectives. So, for example, if your goal is to increase like brand awareness, a mobile marketing or promotional app might be more suitable than, say, a gaming app. Your target audience. So, app types cater to like different demographics and user behavior. So, by selecting the right type, you can tailor your app to meet the specific needs and preferences of your audience. Another reason is resource allocation. So developing an app can be resource intensive, in terms of time, money, and talent. So choosing the appropriate app type is going to allow you to allocate your resources more efficiently. User experience. So different apps types are going to have distinct user experience expectations. A social media app, should offer like more seamless social interactions, while say a navigation app must excel in providing like accurate directions. Another reason is monetization strategies. So some app types are more suited for certain monetization methods, such as in-app purchases, ads, or subscriptions. The competitive landscape. So by understanding which app types are prevalent in your niche, you can identify gaps and opportunities for innovation. Technical requirements. So, for instance, gaming apps are going to require more powerful, like graphic engines, while productivity apps may need like more robust, like data synchronization capabilities. Regulatory and compliance considerations. So, certain app types may be subject to specific regulations or maybe industry standards. User retention and engagement. So some apps, they're going to be used daily while others are sporadically accessed. So knowing these patterns can help you design features and content that's going to keep users coming back. And then scalability. If your app has the potential to grow in terms of users and features, selecting the right app type is going to be essential. Scalability considerations can influence like architectural decisions and long-term planning. And then market trends. The mobile app landscape is constantly evolving. Okay, so staying informed about app type trends and emerging technologies can help you to make more informed choices that keep your app relevant into the market. So there's three main categories or types of mobile applications. There's native apps, mobile web apps, and then hybrid apps. And each of these categories has distinct characteristics and is built using like different technologies. So let me explain each. So for a native app, the definition of a native app, they're native apps. They're mobile applications specifically developed for like a particular mobile operating system, like Android or iOS, and they use the platform's native programming language and development tools. So, for example, iOS apps are typically written in Swift or Objective C, while Android apps use Java or Kotlin. Now, the different characteristics for this is their performance. So native apps, they often perform the best, they provide like the best performance and responsiveness because they're optimized for the specific OS and hardware. They have full access to the device features such as like the camera, the GPS system, any sensors and other features. And this enables more of a like a rich and immersive user experience. And then native apps can provide a seamless user interface that adheres to like the design guidelines and standards of like the respective OS, which leads to like more familiar and intuitive user experience. And then they're typically distributed through the App Store, like the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store, and it makes it a little bit easier to be discovered by users. Now, different use cases for as far as a native app would be, where high performance, extensive device integration, and superior user experience are going to be essential. So this would include things like gaming apps or productivity tools and applications that require like real-time data processing. Whereas with the mobile web apps, these are web applications that are accessed through a mobile web browser. And they're essentially websites that are optimized for like web devices and are built using web technologies such as HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Now, as far as their characteristics, mobile web apps, they're accessible on various different mobile platforms, and they don't require like separate development, for each OS like the native one did. And then the users don't really need to download or install anything. They can just access the app by just visiting the website's URL. And then mobile web apps, they have limited access to device features, say compared to like native apps. May not be able to like utilize all the hardware capabilities. But they are designed to adapt to like the different screen sizes and orientations. So in that it provides like a consistent experience across like all devices. So like the different use cases for this, so mobile web apps, they're suitable for like content-centric applications, informational websites, and cases where like rapid deployment and cross-platform compatibility are more critical than accessing, say, device-specific features. So they're commonly used for like blogs, news sites, and like different e-commerce platforms. And then you have your hybrid apps, and these combine elements of both native and web apps. And they're built using web technology like HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, but they're wrapped in a native container, which allows them to be installed and run like a native app. So they also provide cross-platform because they can be developed once and deployed unlike multiple platforms, which like reduces the development time and costs. Um, they can access like certain device features through like plugins or APIs, sort of providing like a middle ground between like native and mobile web apps. And then like native apps, hybrid apps can be distributed through the app stores, which increases their discoverability. And then much of the app's content is loaded from a remote server, so it allows for like real-time updates without requiring users to update the app itself. Now, as far as use cases, hybrid apps are a good choice when you want to create a cross-platform app quickly, but still need to access some of the native features. They're commonly used for like business apps, social media apps, and content-driven applications. So this is just to give you an overview of the three different apps and their tech stacks. So like I said, a native app, basically it's going to run on your operating system and device. Whereas all the way to the right here, a web app is going to run through your web browser to be able to be viewed. Whereas a hybrid app, it's going to be using these native wrappers, and the native wrappers will embed like web views or native UI views or native hardware access. So it's more of a like a best of both worlds is the way that I look at it. So let's discuss industries that extensively use mobile apps. Um, and let's talk about the different examples of popular apps in each industry. So social media apps, they enable users to connect, share content, and communicate with like their friends, their families, and the global community. So what we see for this is we see Facebook, we see Instagram, we see Twitter. For e-commerce, these kind of apps facilitate like online shopping, and they allow users to browse, purchase and track products and services. So, some of the examples of these would be, Amazon, Alibaba, eBay. And then you have your health and fitness apps, and these promote physical well-being by tracking like workout, diet, health metrics. So you have like your My Fitness, Pal, Calm, Fitbit, apps like that. Then you've got your gaming apps, and these offer entertainment and engagement through like various genre, including casual, puzzle, action games, different things like that. So this is where you've got your Candy Crush, all these different types of gaming apps. And then there's the finance and banking apps, and they provide like secure access to accounts, financial transactions, and investment management. So PayPal is a good example of this. Venmo, even a lot of the banks and things like that, they have their own app. Then there's travel and hospitality, and these kind of assist users with like planning trips or booking like the different accommodations, or accessing like travel information. So you've got your Expedia, your Airbnb, your Google Maps. You have the education educational maps and apps, and they offer like learning resources, courses and tools for students, of basically all ages. So, there's different apps for, different grades. Um, these would be your Duolingo, Quizlet, various different ones. Then you've got your transportation apps, and these provide like convenient options for like booking rides, taxis, sharing car journeys. So, a couple of them are Uber, and then Lyft. You've also got like your Google Maps and your Wave. And then you've also got like food delivery, and these assist users for ordering food, from different local restaurants and now from grocery stores too. And that's where your DoorDash, your Uber Eats, your Grubhub comes in. So in most mobile apps, there's several essential components that work together to create a seamless and user-friendly experience. And these components include the user interface, which is like your visual design and your layout. And so when we talk about user interface of a mobile app encompasses like the visual design, like I said, the layout, the presentation of the app's elements, which might include like your screens, your buttons, your icons, your navigation menus. Then the significance of this is that a well-designed UI is going to be crucial for like providing users with an intuitive and more visual appealing experience. It is going to influence like how users interact with your app and affect how they perceive its usability and its quality. Um, and when I talk about like UI components, that, like I said, that's going to include like your buttons, but it'll include like your text fields, your images, your sliders, your lists, and all those different things. And consistency in design and adhering to like platform guidelines, and responsive layouts, that's going to be essential. It's an essential aspect of like the UI development. Then you've got your functionality and features and capabilities. And functionality is going to refer to like the set of features, again, the capabilities and the tasks that an app can perform. And it encompasses everything that the app can do, from like the basic functions to adhering, to advanced like interactions and services. Um, the functionality of an app, kind of defines its purpose and its utility. It should align with the app's goals and provide value to the user. And the implementation of functionality, often involves like coding logic and algorithms to deliver like specific actions or services. So examples of this is like in a messaging app, functionality includes sending and receiving messages, attaching files, and managing conversations. Maybe in a weather app, it involves fetching and displaying like weather data, providing forecasts and enabling local-based services. And then, of course, there's data storage, and that would be referring to like the management of data, both locally and on the, like locally on the device, and then like remotely, say on the servers or cloud databases. And this is going to include storing, retrieving, updating, and synchronizing data. Now, effective data storage is going to be critical for maintaining user data preferences, maybe even the app state. Mobile apps often integrate with like various different types of data, such as like user profiles, settings, images, and content from remote servers. And the components for like data storage include like local databases, file systems for storing like user-generated content, and communication protocols for retrieving data from remote sources. And then the last component is user interaction. And this encompasses like how users engage with the app, including like touch gestures, input, which is like, pressing a button or something like that, and then feedback mechanisms. User interaction, you know, they're how users navigate, input data, and receive feedback within the app. And it plays like a vital role in ensuring an engaging and responsive user experience. So examples of this are like swipe gestures for navigation, tap gestures to select certain items, pinch to zoom for images, and feedback in the forms of like confirmation dialogues, error messages, or subtle, animation to indicate actions. Now, one more thing to remember is that data mobile apps, they may have access to like internal data, device location, call logs, and also phone contacts. So let's talk about user experience in creating successful apps. So user experience is going to play a pivotal role in creating successful apps, as it directly influences how users perceive, interact with, and ultimately engage with an application. A positive user experience enhances user satisfaction. It drives user retention and contributes to an app's success. Now, here are some key aspects to the role of user experience in application development. So, user experience design begins with a deep understanding of your target audience, their needs, their preferences, their pain points. So, by putting users at the center of the design process, app developers can create solutions that cater to their expectations and deliver values. An intuitive navigation. So, a well designed user experience ensures that users can navigate the app easily and find what they're looking for without confusion. And this involves like clear and logical placement of like menus, buttons, and navigation paths. Then there's visual appeal, because a visually pleasing interface is going to be essential for attracting and retaining users. Aesthetic elements such as color schemes, typography, and graphics, they should be thought about thoroughly, and chosen to create a visually appealing and cohesive design. Performance optimization. We know slow and buggy apps can frustrate a user and basically drive them away. So, user experience designers work closely with developers to ensure that the app works smoothly, loads quickly, and responds promptly to user interactions. And then consistency. So, consistency in design and behavior across different screens and interactions is going to be crucial for providing a cohesive and predictable user experience. Users should feel comfortable using the app without like encountering unexpected changes or surprises. And then accessibility, ensuring that an app is accessible to users with, say, disabilities, is an essential aspect of user experience design. So this includes providing features like screen readers, voice commands, and customizable text sizes and contrast. Then there's feeding and communications. Um, Effective communication with users is vital. So this involves providing feedback for users' interaction, like again, button presses, form submissions, providing like error messages that are clear, and actionable, and notifications that inform users about relevant updates and events. Now, user experience designers often conduct usability testing with real users to gather feedback, um, and to identify like their pain points, in the app's design and functionality. And this iterative process helps refine the user's experience and addresses like users before, say, the app is launched. And then understanding user journeys within the app and optimizing them for efficiency and effectiveness is going to be a core part of user experience design. And this includes minimizing friction in the user's path to accomplish like tasks, or achieving goals. And then we want to tailor the user experience to the individual's preferences and behaviors, because this can significantly enhance engagement. Personalization, might involve like recommending content, customizing settings, and learning from user interactions over time. Then there's emotional engagement. Successful apps often tap into like the emotional aspects of user experience. They create positive emotions like delight, satisfaction, or a sense of accomplishment, which can lead to increased user loyalty and advocacy. And then there's that iterative improvement. User experience design is a ongoing process. Even after an app is launched, designers are going to continue to monitor like user feedback. They're going to be analyzing like user data, and they're going to be making different improvement to enhance the overall user experience. Okay, so now let's talk about native apps versus mobile web apps. So native apps are mobile applications developed specifically for a particular mobile operating system such as iOS or Android. They have direct access to device-specific capabilities, enabling them to harness the full potential of the hardware and the software features. For instance, the cameras and sensors. Native apps can access device cameras, GPS, and other sensors to create functionality like photo capture, augmented reality, fitness tracking, and location-based services. They can perform or they can utilize like platform-specific notification systems to deliver like timely and relevant alerts to the users. And they access the native APIs, which allow integration with the system services such as the calendar events, the contacts, and the in-app purchases. And then developers can optimize code for specific platforms, taking advantage of the platform specific optimizations, libraries, and tools. Now, native apps are known for their exceptional performance and responsiveness due to several factors. One is that the code of the native app is compiled into machine code specific for the target platform, resulting in efficient execution and faster load times. Native apps can harness the device's graphical processing unit, the GPU, directly, making them well suited for graphic intensive applications like gaming and video editing. And then developers have fine-grained control over the memory management, leading to efficient memory usage and reduced risk of crashes and slowdowns. And then native apps provide more of a smoother and more responsive user experience, making them ideal for applications where speed and is critical. Now, mobile web apps are web applications that are accessed through a mobile web browser, such as Safari on iOS or Chrome on Androids. Now, unlike native apps, mobile web apps are not downloaded and installed from app stores, but instead they're accessed by entering the web address into the browser. Now, here's how mobile web apps work and their key characteristics. So, like I said, they're accessed through the web browser. They're basically essentially like websites that are optimized for mobile devices. And of course, users can access them, like I said, by entering the app's URL in the mobile web browser. And unlike native apps, they don't require any installation from the App Store, because we can just easily access them through like the website, like navigating to a website. Their cross-platform compatibility. So mobile web apps are designed to work across different platforms, including iOS, Android, Windows, mobile, and others. And this cross-platform compatibility eliminates like the need for separate app development for each platform. And then mobile web apps, they use responsive web design techniques to be able to adapt to various screen sizes and orientations. And this ensures like a consistent user experience on the different devices. They make for easier maintenance and updates because updates to mobile web apps are made on the server side, meaning that changes and improvement can be rolled out to all users simultaneously. And this centralizes the approach to more simplify maintenance and ensure that users always have access to the latest version. And then mobile web apps don't need to don't aren't required, say, approval from app stores. So it basically kind of avoids that lengthy review process associated with some native apps. Developers have a little bit more control over the updates and can implement changes more quickly. Then you have your offline access with limitations. Now, mobile web apps typically require the internet connection to like function. However, they can implement some offline capabilities using technology such as like service workers or client-side caching to store essential data and enable like limited functionality without an internet connectivity. And then URL accessibility, like I said before, mobile apps can be easily bookmarked or shared because you're finding them through or discovering them through their URLs. And so what this does is simplifies users' access and distribution. Users can just basically return to the app by clicking on a bookmark or sharing the URL with others. Resource requirements, so mobile web apps may consume less data compared to native apps since they don't require app downloads and frequent updates from the App Store. And they generally require less storage space on the user's device because most of the app's resources are going to be hosted on remote servers. And then performance and capabilities. Most web apps they may have performance limitations compared to native apps, especially for like the graphic intense applications or those requiring like complex computation. Um, but while mobile apps can access certain device capabilities such as geolocation and cameras, they again still have that limited access compared to native apps. Now, the choice between native apps and mobile web apps depends on the specific requirements and goals of your project. So, native apps excel in resource intensive tasks and scenarios where optimal device performance is critical. Whereas mobile web apps, on the other hand, are well suited for reaching a wider audience with simple content delivery, and they're often more accessible due to their browser-based nature. Now, native apps are ideal for, say, resource intensive gaming applications that require like high quality graphics, complex physical simulations, and real time interaction. Like AR and VR apps are often demand substantially on a lot of computing power and seamless integration with the device sensors like the cameras, and things like that. Um, when it comes to as far as like even multimedia editing, native apps can, more efficiently handle like large media files and provide real-time editing features. So examples of this is like the Adobe Premiere Rush or GarageBand. And then native development enables the integration of machine learning and AI libraries. And this allows apps to perform tasks like natural language processing, image recognition, and then predictive analysis. Siri for iOS and like Google Assistant for Android are native apps with AI capabilities. And then apps that rely on precise GPS tracking and mapping, such as like turn-by-turn navigation, they benefit from native development. They can access like device-specific GPS hardware and provide real-time accurate location data. Um, Good examples of this is like Google Maps and Apple Maps. Whereas like with the mobile web apps, um, they are excellent for like delivering content-centric applications like news websites, blogs, informational sites. You know, they're accessible to like a broad audience without the need of app installation, making it easier for users to access articles and posts. Mobile web apps are suitable for e-commerce platforms, especially if the primary focus is on like product listings, catalog browsing, you know, online shopping. Users can access the store directly from their browsers, and it reduces the conflict in the purchasing process. Um, Apps that provide straightforward utilities like calculators, converters, reference materials, they're all well suited for the web because these apps often, you know, offer like quick access to information that can be shared like via links. So examples of these are like the currency converters or like unit converters. And then basic mobile games, quizzes, interactive content that don't require advanced graphics or complex interaction can be, you know, efficiently delivered through mobile web apps. And they can be accessed directly, again, from the browser, making them easy to share and making them easy to access. And then mobile web apps are effective for collecting data through forms and surveys. Users can complete forms and submit responses without the need of app installation, making it convenient for like both the user and the administrator. And then when running like market campaigns or promotions, mobile web apps in the form of like landing pages are versatile tools, and they can easily be created and shared and customized to deliver like targeted messages and calls to action. Now, other considerations when making a choice between the two are like maybe thinking about as far as your target audience and user preferences. So for instance, with native apps, they allow for a targeted user experience that aligns with like the preferences and the habits of users on specific platforms like iOS and Android. Users who prefer a consistent and familiar experience on their chosen platform are going to be more engaged with native apps. And then native apps can benefit from being featured in like platform specific app stores, which potentially can increase their discoverability among users, you know, who frequent these stores. Whereas with mobile web apps, they're accessible across various platforms, making them suitable for reaching a broader and potentially more diverse audience. Users who prefer not to download and install apps may appreciate the convenience of accessing content directly through their mobile web browsers. And then, of course, through we talked about this with link sharing. You know, mobile web apps are easy to easier to share via links or URLs, which basically facilitate more viral marketing and referrals. Then there's the app complexity, the complexity and require features. So if your app requires advanced features or extensive hardware utilization or integration with specific device capabilities, then native development is often going to be your best choice. Native app excels in like resource intensive tasks such as like 3D graphics and rendering, real-time processing and complex animation. And then they offer richer like offline experiences by caching content and data for use when, say, connectivity is limited. Whereas on the other side, with the mobile web app, they're used because they're more if you have like an application that has a little bit more simplicity with it. So like for relatively straightforward applications or content delivery platforms with like minimal interaction or device integration, mobile web apps can be sufficient. And mobile web apps can be kind of cost effective solutions for projects with like limited budgets, as they don't really require separate development for the different platforms. And then they're often quicker to prototype and iterate upon like making them more suitable for projects that might have like tight deadlines. And then as far as related to development, timeline and resources, um, native app development is generally going to take longer, okay? Especially when creating like separate versions for iOS and Android. And building and maintaining native apps is going to require like additional development resources, such as maybe skilled developers for each platform. And then native apps, they got to go through an app store approval process, which can add additional time to the development timeline. Whereas with mobile web apps, they can be developed more quickly due to their single code base and the ability to iterate without App Store approval. Web technologies are widely used, and so finding developers with web development experience is going to be generally easier and more cost effective. And then the same code base can often be used for multiple platforms, which is going to reduce the development efforts and the time spent on developing the app. So let me discuss some case studies to demonstrate that the choice of the app type depends on industry-specific goals and user preferences. So first case study is Amazon. So the goal was, they have the world's largest e-commerce companies, and they wanted to provide like a seamless shopping experience to users across like various different platforms. So Amazon opted for a native app for both iOS and Android, prioritizing the platform-specific user experience and performance. Now, the native app allowed Amazon to take full advantage of the device-specific capabilities, providing fast and responsive user experience and integrate features like one-click purchasing and barcode scanning. Um, Amazon's native apps have become popular among users, contributing to the company's dominant position in the e-commerce industry, and they provide a consistent and like feature-rich shopping experience. The next one is the New York Times. So their goal was aimed at reaching a global audience with its content and provide a convenient reading experience. They offer both native apps for iOS and Android and a mobile web app accessible through browsers. Now, the reasoning behind this, the native apps cater to users who prefer platform-specific experiences and offline reading capability, but simultaneously, the mobile web app allows the organization to reach a wider audience, including users who don't want to download a dedicated app. So the outcome was that the New York Times successfully delivered news content to a diverse audience, accompanying various users' preferences for accessing their content. The third one here is the MyFitness app. So the MyFitness app it is a fitness and nutrition tracking platform. It's aimed to provide like users with an easy and efficient way to monitor their health and fitness goals. So they chose a native app approach for both iOS and Android. Um, the native app offers like the best performance for them for real-time tracking of exercise, food intake, and other health-related data, and access to device sensors like GPS for tracking runs and optimized performance was for them critical. Now, their outcome is that the MyFitnessPal's native app has gained like a large user base due to its excellent performance, its integration with wearable devices, and its ease of use. And the app's features and responsive design contributes to their user engagement. And then there's Instagram, and everybody knows Instagram, and they were basically aimed to provide users with like a visually appealing and engaging platform. So Instagram initially started as a native app for iOS and then later expanded to Android with a native app. Now, their reasoning behind their choice was that Instagram prioritized offering a smooth and immersive user experience for uploading and viewing photos and videos. Native development allowed for the best performance and access to devices like the camera. So, as far as their outcome, the Instagram's native apps quickly gained popularity, leading to like significant user base and acquisition by Facebook. And the app's seamless user experience and visual appeal basically contributes to its success. Now, before we conclude this lecture, I just wanted to share with you probably my first mobile app, which was a hybrid app. I used to work for the clerk of the circuit court, and we came out with a mobile app that allowed folks that had court cases for the circuit court to be able to look up their court information. So whether it was like a civil case, or maybe if it was a traffic case or something like that, they were able to look it up. And they were also able to look up like their court call, which would tell them like, okay, they've got an upcoming court date within the next 5 days, and this is the room and the location, and so on and so forth. It also allowed for them to get information about the different facilities, information about like a list of the different fees that the clerk of the circuit court charge for different services, to be able to contact the clerk of the circuit court, different things like that. This was a hybrid app because it was available in the stores. I used HTML, CSS, and JavaScript to develop the core of it, but then it was wrapped in a native wrapper, and it used this product, which is no longer available now, but it was through Telerik. And it used it as a wrapper so that the wrapper allowed us to be able to interact with the user's mobile phone. So basically, we were able to save information on their phone. We were able to utilize various different features on their phone as a native app would, but still development, like I said, of the core part of the application, the forms, the search, and things like that were done using like JavaScript, and we use like JSON to pull information. So again, you can look at it and tell how antiquated it was. It was back, I want to say maybe 2009, but we were one of the first few courts that actually had a mobile app. But I just wanted to share this with you just to show you, one of the apps that I've worked on.